Welcome back to Metaphysical Tea. I'm Tess.
And I'm Bri.
And this is our last center in human design.
We did it.
We did. And it's a really quick center because there's only 3 gates or gifts in this whole center. And it's all about mental. It's the crown center. And almost our entire family has it open except for my husband and her son. And it's interesting because it's one of the pressure points. So the 2 pressure points are the root center and the crown center.
Okay.
And if you don't have it, if it's not colored in, it's like you have, you're not designed to work with that type of pressure. So the root center pressure is like in your body where it's like, I gotta do this. And the mental pressure is like that pressure in your head. Like I have to figure this out. Yeah.
Loud.
But all of us having it open, it's like, we're just not designed to do it. So we're either completely unfazed by the pressure of mental pressure, of like that mental feeling, or we're at a 10 for it. So if you have the center closed, you have consistent access to inspiration. So you are constantly inspired by different things. But when it's open, you have access to the collective inspiration. And there's kind of a funny story that I heard one time for an open crown center. And I've totally done it. And it's being in a restaurant and looking at the menu and just being like, picking something so random that you would never pick, and then when your food comes, you're just kind of staring at it like, why the heck did I get this? But it's because you were picking up other people's inspiration.
I like that.
I know. I've totally done it where I've been like, why on earth would I order this?
You know what? This has absolutely nothing to do with HD, but besides your, like, that scenario because, server part-time, but when you bring people their food and they actually look at you like they are confused.
Yeah.
On the food that, by the way, they ordered
it. No, it's so
this
true.
This makes so much sense. I'm going to think about this every time, that overwhelming chatter and all the energy swirling around that, like, if you're open, you're just, like, getting it, and then that's what you're choosing. So that resonates.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice when you have a job or a career that really puts mental pressure on you when it's open and you're in your highest power, because you can just like flawlessly run through it. So I actually don't have either pressure center, so I can handle a whole lot of stress.
Also true.
And have like 0. Everyone's like, how are you handling that? How are you handling that? But then one thing happens and I'm at a 10. Like there's not a 5. Yeah. That doesn't exist for me.
Yeah.
But for anyone with it open, it doesn't exist for you either in the mental pressure world. Yes. Okay, so if it's open, I'm just going to go through my notes so I make sure I don't miss anything. So if it's open, you're open to many forms of inspiration. You're a flexible thinker, able to see multiple perspectives, and your wisdom is discerning which questions truly... Oh. You have wisdom in discerning which questions really matter. So you're able to look at like, what is the meaning of life? And then go, ooh, but what part of that matters?
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. It makes sense, all of us that have it open in our family and the 2 that don't.
Yeah, we definitely, yes. I can say that my child who has it closed does hyper focus on the micro.
Yeah. And that one.
And that guy. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? It totally does.
Which is still a gift. You still need
it's absolutely
detail,
a gift.
Precision, being able to see every single step in its entirety, the micro, it matters.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of interesting. So they have consistent source to inspiration or consistent like access to inspiration, but they have reliable questioning patterns and a natural theme of curiosity. That is the most curious. Yeah. My husband is the most curious person I've ever met.
Yes. And sometimes the questions come out like, are you looking for a problem?
If you don't understand this about him, you're like, is he just trying to find something wrong with it? And then he'll be like, I was trying to help. And you're like, what? Yeah, it's absolutely curiosity.
Yeah.
So if you know someone with a closed or defined crown center, they're probably someone that asks a lot of questions. And for those of us who don't have it, it can feel like, are you questioning me? Are you questioning my decision? And it's like, no, they just are truly curious.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Now, the harder side of the closed crown center is it can be rigid in mental questioning, stuck in one way of processing inspiration, and may overlook alternative perspectives. Which also I think makes sense.
Yeah,
Because like
a little
once,
bit
yeah.
close-minded.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I know.
Not everything.
No, not everything.
Certainly not.
But once they like think something should be a certain way, like pretty obsessed with that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then the negative side to open crown center is easily overwhelmed by external pressure to think, feeling like you must answer others' questions, and mental anxiety from trying to resolve everything. So that's the 10 that I was talking about. Like you're either at a 0 where like everything's going flawlessly and it's easy and you don't feel the mental pressure, or you're like, oh my God, I have to know the answer to this. Or, where this shows up a lot, I think, too, is like, I was going to say coaches, but I think it does for every industry. Like, don't you feel like when you're serving someone, like you feel like you have to have the answer?
Yeah.
And it's like, some of it's not even stuff, why would you even know it? But you just feel like you have to know it.
Or sometimes you just feel like, being when you're open, you're so in the flow and you're channeling all these cool ideas or information or whatever it is. And then you go like bone dry desert for a while and you're like, am I even
Am I
tapped
cut off?
in? Am I losing my ability to be tapped into whatever it is.
Yeah.
Card readings, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're reading, like, it just does feel like there's like a dip and a spike sometimes that doesn't make sense.
And this is where like psychic gifts really live. And if you don't have a channel, it doesn't mean, or a gift, it doesn't mean you're not psychically gifted, because we all are. It's just that like, especially if you're claircognizant, where the information is just dropped into your mind, like you'll usually have like 64 or I guess any of these would show up like that, really, because it's your connection to source. Yeah. And if it's open, it's the same thing, it's just inconsistent. So then, like what you were just saying, where it's like, am I tapped in, am I not tapped in? Yeah, that was great. Okay, so the theme of the Crown Center is it's your higher purpose, inspiration, like we talked about, questions, doubt, divine spark of thought. The function is to think, ask, and seek. So it's like there's a lot of questioning, there's a lot of seeking, curiosity, and then just connection.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a good center. So the shadow side of the center is feeling mental pressure to answer everything or resolve uncertainty, and there's just not always certainty on Earth. And so that can feel like something you have to do, but it's not what we're meant to do, most of us.
I like that.
I do too. Okay, so the first one is Gate 61. And so me and my husband have this, and your daughter has it. So it's inner truth or inner knowing. So this is what I just said, like claircognizance. But like I said, it doesn't mean you don't have it. If you don't have this gift, it's just kind of like that. It's just like an inner knowing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the one that's like deep access to like universal mysteries. Like they're just kind of like tapped into the like esoteric.
I like it.
Yeah. They bring profound insight and spiritual knowing, and they naturally inspire others with wisdom. I do too. And the negative expression is obsession with the unknowable questions. That I have that.
I know.
Oh no, I need to stop. You know what? That's so helpful though, because when you can identify a negative trait of one of the gates, you can go, oh, I'm just using my gift in the wrong way.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Pressure to figure it out mentally, leading to anxiety and feeling broken when answers don't come. So really like what you said, even though you don't have that, you still have access to it. Feeling like, what the heck, am I broken? Like, is my connection to source broken?
How come I can't figure out a solution?
Yeah. Well, and we've had this conversation a lot of times where it's like, we've been in this work for so long that it's like, when we can't figure something out, we feel like what the heck am I doing wrong?
Yeah, or thinking like you have too much knowledge to not be able to think your way out of or solve your way out of a problem. I feel that
Yeah.
a lot, but maybe more so when that's your specific gate.
Yeah.
And you know that this is something that you can do, but it's not coming.
Yeah. I know that's a hard one.
It's cool though. I like that you're supposed to be curious.
Yes.
It's permission to be curious and to nurture that.
You know what? Actually, mine and Derek's mentor, Reese, she told us that the reason she thinks she has expanded to the level she has is because she's so curious. She's like, I always just ask like questions, and then every answer, I have another question, and then I have more questions. And she's like, the more curious you are, the more they unfold to you.
And she's, just from what I know from you and from you too, non-judgmental and maybe just like neutral would be a better way of putting it. Just being neutral in your curiosity, not assigning a good or bad, which is really hard when you come from programming, religion, childhood, all of that. So
no, that's
I
true.
Like that.
And she did say that she puts love into everything, which she does. The very first time I ever had a reading with her, it was 2015, I think. And I went to her house, and it was like this little house in South Seattle, and it was super cute with like the best energy. And she offered me a glass of water, and I swear it had like magic in it.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
I will never forget, because I was like, did you infuse this with orange blossoms? And she's like, no. I was like, this is like the yummiest water I've ever had. And she's like, I just put the intention that it's good for you and that it's fulfilling and that it feels good for you. And I'm like, wow, it really did. It was so, I was just like, oh my gosh, like everything I had there was always extra. Like she'd give me a coconut water that comes in a coconut water carton that you like, it's not like she did anything to it, but it would always taste so much better at her house.
Yeah, I like that.
I do too. I don't know how I got off onto intentions, but you know, story time is fun.
Yeah.
So the other part of this is making sure that you resist the urge to try and explain away or try to factualize what it is that you know you know. And that's one of the things that we train people when we're teaching them to open their gifts is to trust what you get and don't try and explain it away. Don't try and say like, oh, I just thought that because of this, or maybe I didn't get that. Maybe I made that up, you know, and just really trusting what comes in and not trying to factualize it.
Yeah, I love that.
I do too. Okay, gate 63 is doubt and logical inquiry. Of course, my husband has all three of these gates because this is so like right up his alley.
Yeah.
So these guys, so it's Derek and Cal that have this, and they are really good at questioning conditioning. So that's really good because as we accidentally get conditioned when we're young through no fault of anyone else, it's just what happens in life. People with this gift are really good at saying like, well, I don't know if that is true. I don't know if I do believe that.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I'm anxious to hear the shadow side of that. I'm just waiting
what is
for
that?
other side.
Yes. Okay, so the negative side is you feel when other people doubt and you can take on their doubt.
Yes.
And
okay.
That's a hard one because sometimes the doubt that someone else is feeling is meant for them to like work it out. And when you have this gift and you're like absorbing their doubt, it can hurt you because they might be doubting you and there's nothing wrong with you. It's just something they need to deal with, you know?
Yes, this makes sense in what I've seen that shadow side play out. And also, one of the things that just like was coming up when you were saying that, I had never heard this before, but this just came out. When you were talking about doubt, like we assume that doubt is our no, is our answer to like no. If you're doubting, it's a no. But I like what you just said because as you were saying that, it's to refine. it's also to like solidify your truth, like working through your truth. Why is it your truth? I really love that. I don't know if I hear that enough, of like, your doubt isn't your no. It's not your like voice of like necessarily saying like, this is wrong for you. It's like you said, it's refining your why or your truth.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it comes from conditioning.
Yeah.
We doubt it because no one else has done it.
Ooh, I like that. I like that if you have that gate, being mindful of like taking on other people's.
Yeah. Other people's doubts. Yeah. Now, if you have it open, you naturally absorb and amplify anything that's open. So I think actually all of us are really prone then to absorbing the doubts of other people.
Group mentality.
Sure. I put a few more notes in here about this gift. So more positive expressions is healthy skepticism. That sharpens their clarity. Which that's what we were talking about. Like when Derek will tell us stuff, and we're like, "Is he trying to find a problem with our plan?"
I got one for you.
Yeah, and really, he's like, "I'm just like a little skeptical," but he'll tell me like, "I trust you, and the only reason I'm not as excited as you yet is because I just have questions, but I know you're gonna do it great or whatever." And it used to make me like, does he not think I can do it, or does he not think like, you know?
Because now I'm definitely gonna do it.
Right. He says that all the time. He's like, the best way to get you to do something is tell you can't do it. I go, nah, it just pisses me off. They also have logical questioning that ensures accuracy and they provide structure for testing the truth. Those are more positives. The negatives are paralyzing doubt, never trusting solutions, critical, overly judgmental of self or others, and mental looping without resolution.
Ooh,
yeah. That's hard. That is a hard one. And Derek tends to be more in like the curiosity, but if it's something that's like really upsetting to him, he can totally mental loop.
Sure. And also he's a little more mature too. So like,
that's true.
With maybe like a teen or a young adult, maybe that's just not something that you've refined or.
Yeah, and if you're like under 30 and you're listening to this, you probably aren't feeling all the positive stuff yet, because just as you get older, really probably after 35, you'll start just naturally shifting that way. But you can work on it now, and you can work towards it now, and you don't have to wait. There's not an age that says this is when you do it. It just happens more naturally as you age, because we grow out of some of our stuff, you know. Same with astrology signs. You hear like all the bad and good of astrology signs, but like aggressive Aries kind of chill out at 40, you know? And so if you're telling like a 55-year-old Aries something about Aries, sometimes it doesn't resonate anymore.
That's true.
Yeah. And then young Aries, you tell them like some positive traits, and they're like, I don't think I could lead people. Like, I'm nuts, you know? When really they have this great natural gift of leadership. Okay, our last one, since there's only 3, is 64. And this is confusion and abstract inspiration. So Cal, Bria, Bailey, and Derek all have this one. So the positive expression is rich imagination and symbolic thinking. They generate powerful stories and visions and can transform confusion into deep wisdom over time. So they're like they take chaos and turn it into wisdom.
That's interesting, because your daughters both had another gift of storytelling. So
You're right.
Like, what is really the like, that's 2 gifts. That's 2 gifts that are specific.
That they both have. And specific about storytelling. That's interesting.
It is interesting, because back in the day, like, storytellers, bards, like, you know, in different cultures, like, that was a very important role to carry on wisdom and ancient knowledge.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's something they've like done before.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just gonna make it weird.
No, I love that. That's really interesting, because you know what else is crazy is today Bailey called she said I was allowed to talk about her past, but she called a rehab, that 9-month rehab center that she was in. she's like, they help me so much to understand like communication and how to deal like with my emotions and like understand why and where they were coming from and how to communicate them through CBT, which is like cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
And then I don't remember what the D stands for in DBT, but it's similar. And she's like, I've bought all these books. I have journals. She's like, I've tried like working with counselors that do it, and it's just not the same. She's like, do you think if I called them, they would give me the like their playbook? She's like, because I just want their book. The thing that they had me use was so helpful. So she called, and the lady who answered was the one who did the CBT and DBT when she was there.
Of course.
I know.
I love it.
And then not only did she give her all the information, she asked her if she'd come speak at the rehab, which is like so a calling for Bailey.
That would be storytelling.
I know.
That's wild.
Yeah, so
I really
that's
like
really
that.
cool. Yeah, I know that
That's
kind of aligns with.
That's good. And you know what? That's such a good way of putting like storytelling. I think when you hear it, or it's like when somebody says, "Oh, you have this in your chart. You're creative," and people are like, "I'm not creative." Creativity looks so different for everyone. Storytelling really can look so different for everyone.
It really can.
That is a really cool story.
And you know what else she told me today? She said, I've always been really passionate about helping animals and kids. She's like, but now that I've been an adult for a few years, she's like, I think everyone needs help.
True, babe.
She's like, I always just thought they were supposed to just know, and like, why do they need help? She's like, but adults need help too. But she really wants to help, and I think that she's always seen herself like talking to people that are going through it. But then she would have like a relapse or like, you know, just like hard things happen and then wouldn't feel qualified to do it. But I really think she's in a good place, and then this opportunity presented itself. Yeah.
I like that.
I know. Okay, the negative side of this gift or gate is, we're not going to do that right now. Negative expression. Their mental overwhelm, scattered thoughts, getting lost in fantasy or confusion, and pressure to make sense too quickly, creating chaos. That makes so much sense to me for them, for both my girls. Mm-hmm. Who else has it? Derek and Cal. Okay, does that make sense? Do you see that at all? Like scattered thoughts, like I feel like it could just show up as like people saying you have ADHD, and both my kids are always like, I just can't concentrate.
Yeah.
And then getting lost in fantasy or confusion.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. And that, when you talk about like getting lost in fantasy confusion, that could probably be like numbing out. Mm-hmm. You know, or just needing TV or a video game is what I'm thinking, to just like which is okay sometimes, like your brain does not need to be on all the time.
No,
but
I was thinking the fantasy and confusion for my kids, because I always talk about how it's such a weird generation. Like they're the first generation that had all these electronics and phones and social media from like birth to, forever. And it changed them. And they compare themselves to other people. They think that people have these like super crazy lives that they don't really have just because of how social media shows it. They think that, like, that's what Bailey was saying, is like, I just thought adults had money. She's like, but they don't.
Our generation, sister.
Right. And she's like, I was like, what could they possibly have problems about, And, but she always thinks like, I'd try and get her to make a budget and it would be like 10 grand. And I'm like, honey, this might be unrealistic for just starting out. And she's like, well, I need everything on there. Like, I don't know what I would take off. And I'm like, what? Because I would always be like, okay, I just have to pay my bills, like my car, my insurance, like all the basics, right? She's like, well, I have to fit in like 4 hair appointments because I need to get blowouts and I have to get my nails done. And it's like just so different.
That's because we grew up with a plastic Tupperware bowl put over our head, and we had to be still or we got spanked with a hairbrush.
Yes.
Okay. The bowl bangs were it. So we just didn't have foils and stuff.
It's true.
At the ready at 15.
No. I know. Have you seen that where you look at pictures of like 14-year-olds back then and 14-year-olds today, and it's like
14-year-olds today look like they belong on like Cosmos World. Like they look 22.
I know.
It's unreal. When I drop my kid off at school, I'm always like, what?
We didn't look like that.
I looked like a ragamuffin. Little tomboy until
14
well
might
into
have
high
been
school.
the year that I started, like, I like changed overnight. Like, I was like really shy and quiet and like barely had any friends, and then like over a summer I was like,
even middle school. The girl, when you drop off in middle school and you see kids and you're like, you look 20.
I know
What's happening? We
my
just have
kids
different
did.
standards.
I
Can
know.
you imagine the magazines we would look at? Like no one was whitening their teeth. Movies still had like jacked up yellow. It just was real.
It was real, yeah. And if anything was airbrushed, it was like so like now it's just like pure filter.
It was just soft lighting.
Yeah. It's crazy. But I mean, I guess that would create fantasy or confusion about what your life should be.
Yeah. Especially with the influx of like influencers and
yeah,
that's fair.
Well, that's it. That's our whole Crown Center, and that ends our whole piece at the Human Design Centers. And so next week I'll be in Florida, but the week after,
It'll be good.
I know.
It'll
I'm
be
super
good.
excited.
It's exciting.
Yeah. We're filming. I'm in a documentary about women entrepreneurs, and I'm super excited about it. But the next week after that, we'll pick up and start doing channels, which is when two gifts connect to each other.
Ooh.
So when you have one gift and not the other side, like let's say like the Crown Center connected to the ajna that we talked about last week, that would create a channel. But if you only have one, it's called a hanging gate. So like let's say, for example, the one we just talked about, if all our kids have that gate, which was 64, and it's not connected to anything, it's like you have the gifts and you have the consistency and like you have consistent access to this thing, but you're not really meant to, like, you don't have to do something with it. It's just like the energy of having it. When it's connected, it's like you're meant to do something about it.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's going to be super fun.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. As always, let us know if there's anything you want to know, anything you want to learn, anything you want us to learn so we can share it with you. We just love learning everything we can and finding a way to make it easy for other people to understand and digest.
I love it. See you guys.
Bye.